Over Form SSA 827, Authorization to Disclose Information to the Social Security Administration. This is a two-page document you can find on the Social Security Administration website. Primarily, we'll be focused on page 1. That contains all the information fields that you should be concerned with. On page 2, there is an explanation of the form as well as the Privacy Act statement followed by the Paperwork Reduction Act statement, but no information fields for you to complete. So people who file a disability claim with the Social Security Administration should expect that the SSA may come back to them and request that they complete or sign Form SSA 827 so that the Social Security Administration may obtain additional information from third parties. These third parties might include medical providers such as doctors or hospitals. They could be colleges and schools to release education records. They could be your employer or insurance company. But the primary purpose of this form is for the claimant on a disability claim to give the Social Security Administration permission to obtain this information from third parties so that the SSA can then make a determination on whether or not to approve a disability claim. Probably the most important information privacy aspect to this form is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, otherwise known as HIPAA. And on the SSA website, it does state that Form SSA 827 complies with the requirements set forth by HIPAA, specifically to ensure that the claimant has all the information necessary to make an informed consent, to make it more obvious to sources that the form contains all elements and statements legally required to be on an authorization form, to ensure that claimants are clearly advised of the specifics of the disclosure, and to maximize the efficiency of the form as permitted by law to support electronic commerce with providers. The Social Security Administration also states that this form has been in use since 2003, so 20 years plus. There are a couple of things that you should be aware of as the claimant on Form SSA 827. Specifically, when you sign this form, you are voluntarily authorizing the disclosure, whether it's paper, whether it's verbal or electronic, of medical records, education records, employment records, from any and all sources that may be able to give information to the Social Security Administration pertinent to a disability claim. So that the Social Security Administration may use this form to obtain information from medical sources, educational sources, social workers or rehab counselors, consulting examiners that the SSA uses, employers, workers' comp programs, even family, neighbors, friends, and public officials. This authorization is good for up to 12 months from the date of signature. However, you may rescind this at any time in writing, and if you choose to do that, there are instructions on page 2 on how to do this, specifically completing a written statement and submitting it to your Social Security office, and then sending a copy directly to any of the sources of information that you no longer wish to disclose information about you. The SSA may still use information disclosed prior to this revocation to decide your claim. So in other words, you don't need to complete this form. You don't need to provide all the required information. But if you do not complete this form, then the Social Security Administration may not be able to approve a disability claim on your behalf. So we'll start at the top of the form. At the top of the form in the right-hand corner, you'll see the information for the person whose records are to be disclosed. So first name, middle name, last name, full Social Security number, and then the date of birth, month, date, and year. If you're completing this on someone else's behalf, please be sure to clearly state the person whose records are to be disclosed. There's an information field in the center of the form. You do not need to complete this information at all. The purpose of the form is to determine your eligibility for benefits. In the middle of this is a checkbox to determine whether you are capable of managing your benefits only. So check this only if that applies. If not, leave it blank. If this is not signed by the person whose records are to be released, then you must complete one of the three boxes for that indicates your authority to sign. So if you're the parent of a minor, if you're a legal guardian, or if you're some other personal representative, which you'll have to explain in the form. And then if a parent, guardian, or personal representative must sign if there are two signatures required by state law. The date of signature, your street address, phone number, city, state, and zip code. And then witness fields. Federal law does not require witness signature. However, this form is also expected to comply with applicable state laws. So depending on the state that you reside in, you may or may not have to provide one or two witness signatures. Generally, if you take this form to the local SSA office, the representative should be aware of the laws that apply in your particular state. So the Form SSA 827 is generally valid for 12 months after the date of signature, and it is important to note that you should use either blue or black ink only when signing this form, and you can revoke this authorization at any time in writing. However, this does not revoke previously granted authorization. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. If you'd like step-by-step guidance, we've written an article. Simply go to our website, teachmepersonalfinance.com, type in SSA 827 in the search bar, and this article should appear. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns,